Hello and welcome to Cujo Sound. I just got this new game called Build a Zoo. I actually bought it for my daughter because Planet Zoo and I don't know, Zoo Tycoon and all those other games are a little too difficult for her to play. So I decided to buy this one because it looks more like an old school type of builder game. It really reminds me of some of the earlier games that I used to play myself, like Theme Park World and so on. Roller Coaster Tycoon, etc. from back in the day. And therefore I thought about giving this game a spin. It's going to be kind of interesting because I'm really looking forward to what this game can actually do, and especially how they're dealing with audio. So let's take a look, shall we? Okay. The game is fairly straightforward. Looks like we're just building something out of a standard city builder type, which is kind of like Theme Park, the movies, Theme Park World, all these other games that there used to be there. So let's see how this goes. Right now, the game is kind of heavily music orientated, but let's see how it goes. So right off the bat, the UI sounds are kind of just standard clicky stuff, which is it. I'm worried that this will make the game a little bit tedious to play later if we have to listen to this click stuff all the time. But let's see. Let's try and turn the music down, just so that we can perhaps listen to how they're dealing with a lot of things in this game. Because one of the problems, and one of the things that we've discussed in one of the previous videos and one of the previous streams, is that sometimes when music is gone, it's like the game has little holes in its sound design. But here we have... Oh! Extremely heavy panning whenever the helicopter moves, which gives us some indication of something like that the helicopter and the emitter of whatever the sound is coming from on this helicopter is not necessarily placed on the helicopter, but more like that the screen is split up into three parts, like this, where we simply have pan to the left, pan to the right, and center speaker. Whenever something is in there. Let's try and see with this bus here if it makes a noise. The bus doesn't make a noise. So, but here we have our little rabbits. Let's see here. So just as with so many other games, it has a zoom in and zoom out layer of ambience that fades in and out. But different from other games, then usually when you zoom out, you will have lots of wind and so on to really show that you are now far away, whereas this game has the complete opposite. So here, it's just birds and tiny sounds. Actually, it's kind of weird because we can hear the two rabbits that we bought, we can hear them from here. But if we zoom in, now there's wind and action going on. Total action, I swear. So no hovering UI sound here, but a very simple click here. The click itself, though, does match the art style of the game, which is also necessary. It's all important to take it into context. I have previously spoken about this triangle here, which I've written about in some of my articles and so on, trying to explain that you find your little acoustic niche and you stay within it. And if your world is cartoony, then sticking to a cartoony soundscape is definitely what you need to do. No reason to be super realistic if you have a cartoony expression in your art style, or the other way around. If you have a super realistic game, then no reason to make a cartoony soundscape. Unless, of course, that is up to you and your creative freedom to do whatever the you want. And these are kind of weird. Why are they making that noise? Oh, the ambient seems to loop. A little strange. And there's no sound when placing anything like this, which is also a little strange. So placement sounds non-existing. Here we have the bus now. So notice how it did pan to the right, but the same thing with the helicopter, it did pan quite fast. So I still assume that the world is split up into these 3 parts, or similar. Simply track where in the world is the sound coming from, and that causes it to pan, and not necessarily a full 3D scaled emitter that is placed on it, and does it compared to our listener. So no building sounds either when we build these enclosures here, which is kind of strange. There is a sound when we place it, but not really when it does so. So imagine if this game had the music on, we probably wouldn't care so much about it. But now that we have the music off, it's quite noticeable and does actually makes the game feel a little not uncanny or not wrong, just like it's lacking something. So funny enough, these rabbits here are almost sounding like they're 2D and quite loud compared to other sounds that are obviously moving around and panning, which is a little weird. So if we turn the music back on, I'm wondering if the game will sound any different, especially if we build any items. Let's try. Still no noises there. But once the music is on, it sort of masks all the missing sounds, which is nice. But what if we turn the music off? Does people ever play with music off? Sure, some people do. And it does really ruin the experience when we have games like this where sounds are not in focus. Let's try and listen to this helicopter here again. Now it's in the middle. Now to the left. So either the game really is split up into 3 parts like we discussed before, or the listener is placed extremely centered right here in the center of everything, meaning that everything that passes it will definitely sound like it's panning extremely fast because it has no spread. All sounds are straight up 3D moving past the listener, which makes for some extremely aggressive panning. And why is there suddenly a lion in here? I didn't buy a lion. Anyway. So building and placing a lot of these items sounds extremely tedious. But I guess also, if that is the style that you're looking for in terms of audio design and aesthetics, then this is definitely the way to go. I like that it's old school and nice to play around with and kind of childish and a little naive maybe. But that's also part of the problem, I think. I would have liked a lot more variation in these. Even if the game is simple and does look simple, I think a lot of variation in sound design can totally nail it. What's that? A rabbit. Okay, but what's that? That's a lion. How did he get there? And funny how some of the background loops seem to not be looping, so kind of fading out and then fading back in. Either that is because there are some limitations to the type of sound that they're using, such as if this is an MP3 or similar, and the system doesn't allow for looping of files, or if the file is simply malproduced. My guess is it's a combination of the 3. Or 2, whatever. Let's try if we get more animals and see if they have different animal sounds. They should have. If they don't, it's really weird. Okay, So when we actually rebuild some of these and change the shape, it does actually have a sound for building, which it doesn't when we actually build it in the first place, which is kind of strange, but then again, we don't know why. So here in the research window, we still have no audio when clicking anything, which is still kind of weird. To me, it seems like that the UI is very childish and very matching the art style, but then again, why is there no sound here? There is here whenever we click it, but why is there no hover sound when these are obviously objects that we can hover and click? While in other places of the game, there is a hover sound. So to me, if there is a hover sound on some UI, there should be on all UI or similar. Though the low bit stuff is nice. Gotta hand them that. So now we have a VIP in our zoo. But apparently still no sound that indicates that this is a VIP, so we actually have no idea what's going on. Unless we're told by UI, which is also fine. But why are there no noises of all these people? There's so many of them. It doesn't really sound like the park is alive, right? So it mainly sounds like that all we're hearing is these tiny rabbits that are saying squeak squeak, and that's about it. Notice how it pans quite aggressively. So obviously there's a listener right in the center of the screen. All in all, this reminds me a lot about Theme Park. Theme Park was a great game because it was very, very nicely balanced and it was fun to play. This game, however, is also fun to play, but it's a way more childish. And the UI seems to be quite confusing because I have no idea how to build water, even though it says I should. Another thing is the quite weird and lacking sound design. Some sounds are in your face, like the rabbits. Other sounds are totally missing. So this lion doesn't say a thing. These people here doesn't say a thing. We do have pigs and we do have geese, and they also say something. But then again, why doesn't all animals say something? And why are they 2D whenever we zoom out? That's quite interesting. But also because the sound of these geese is clearly 2D and straight in our faces. We know that because if our listener is definitely in the center here, as we could hear with the helicopter and the bus driving by, then if those are so spatially sensitive, then why are the geese and the other animal sounds not? Interestingly enough, if you ask me, this sound design should have been way more detailed and it would have been a lot more fun. I'm still going to play the game, but I'm not here to evaluate the game, I'm here to talk about the sound design only. Anyway, thank you for watching this quick little gameplay through here of Let's Build a Zoo. It's been really fun, I'm really looking forward to seeing my daughter play it. Anyway, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you really like the channel and something like that, then maybe why not subscribe and join the channel and follow up on all the other videos that I've been posting recently and streams as well. If you really want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/Cujo Sound, where you for as little as $1 a month can help me sustain this channel. I would really appreciate it. It would be really fun. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.